Right, so then, hello and welcome to Mr. Duncan Hards. Hello, Duncan. How are you today?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
So normally, obviously, I'm doing these interviews and this is for careers in sport. But today, do you know what? I'm really mega excited because today it's something we're giving the students, another thing that SCL are putting out there, giving the students and going, we're going to help you through what is this difficult period of time. So we're going to go on to that in a minute. But Duncan, this is over to you now because I know you love interviews and I know you love talking on cameras. So the first thing you're going to do is who is Duncan Hards? Tell me all about him. And you can listen. Is at this point you don't have to be bashful. Just say it how it is.
So, where do I start? I mean, okay, so I'm 46, coming up 47. Born in Inverness, grew up on the west coast of Scotland, way up opposite Stornoway and stuff. So it's, and I sort of, yeah, grew up there in the middle of nowhere, really. Came back down to Inverness, and that's where my sporting career started, really. Because up in the west coast, there's nothing to do other than run. So I became a bit of an athlete. Wasn't particularly good at school. Worked my way up through Scottish schools level, into junior men level, into under 23s. So I ran for Scotland under 23s. So a reasonable level, but not ever pro, not ever elite. At that point, I was then moving across, needing to find a job. Again, wasn't very good at school through secondary. Didn't really attend very much, which is probably not the best thing that you guys want to hear, but it's the truth.
And that's the best part. The truth is always the best thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Truth
Yeah,
is the best part.
exactly. So still in Inverness at this point, jumped into the Air Force. I thought I need to do something. I need to get away from the town. There wasn't a lot happening, and I wasn't particularly academic, so went into the Air Force as a direct entry as a physical training instructor at the age of 17, just coming up to 18. So quite young, lucky to get in. Got in purely on real sport prowess rather than academics. And I just worked my way through the Air Force, went into and taught at RAF Cranwell, so I was one of the PTIs teaching at the officer training school, which was fantastic.
Were you still competing then? Were you competing for the RAF and stuff, or?
Yeah. So I competed Air Force for athletics. I did a bit of skiing. I was very fortunate. They sent us away skiing for a few weeks a year.
All right.
So from a development point of view, my learning curve was really steep. And it really makes you grow up. I mean, it's a great place to sort of learn your craft as a man, if you like. But it's also, you just sort of you learn how to speak and be respectful. I think as
Yeah.
it works, and from a competition point of view, yeah, I competed, but it wasn't going the way I was wanting because I was doing too much with the Air Force, with other bits and pieces. So I couldn't focus just on my athletics. And then sadly, I came back from Germany after a while, had a nasty accident, and broke both my legs, my arm,
No.
head injury, got crushed between two cars. So that was the end of my running career. Took me 2 years to get over that, and I couldn't get promotion, so therefore I couldn't stay in the Air Force. So I was medically discharged.
Oh man.
Met my wife, and she said, "Look, we need to find something for you to do," because I was managing a gym, and then I was doing a bit of labouring. I really couldn't find the focus because you lose that sort of direction in life. And
So I guess it's a bit for our boys. Sorry, for our boys and girls. I guess that's a little bit like now. Is that you're in the Air Force and your day was fairly it was regimented, and this is very much structured. And then maybe you've lost that structure, and you're in civilian street as they call it, and
yeah.
then you've got to find something new.
Well, they say you're institutionalized. So that
Yes.
institution I was lost. So I was sort of free reigning and freestyling and just not knowing really what to do myself. I got a bit of a kick up the proverbial, and we found that I needed to go and find a brain. So I went back into access to higher education,
Wow.
did a load of AS levels in a year, and I managed to get onto physiotherapy degree. So
Fantastic.
went off and did my physio degree, and I qualified in 2004, I think it was. And
Marvelous. That's excellent then.
that sort of brings me and I've just sort of worked my own thing, done my own, and built my own business, if you like. It's only a small one-man band, but it does what it needs to do. I look after people, I treat people, I educate people, I teach some personal trainers in my gym where I've got my clinic, and we work like that way, you know. I mean, we live and breathe rehab, because my wife sadly had a brain aneurysm, and she's now what we call a left hemiplegic. So she's like a full victim. So we literally live and breathe rehab and strength conditioning, you know, and movement specialist.
Wow. So that's a mega rewarding job, isn't it? I mean, that's when work becomes your life, and it's a lifestyle, and that's the best job around, isn't it?
Exactly.
So I'm sort of going to try and steer us a little bit towards what we're doing with SCL. So tell me your expertise as obviously you're in the RAF as a PTI. You're doing rehab now. So what are your experiences and your expertise in strength and conditioning and exercise?
Well, so if you take it back to the physical training instructor sort of thing in the Air Force, so you do everything from pine pole carries, keeping people in a condition that reduces the risk of injury. And that's always been my main goal. You make people strong, effective for their role in life, in work, in sport.
Yeah.
So you're getting them to maintain the highest peak of function. And so my experiences with it are everything from the Air Force. So, you know, treating these guys, and you had like groups of 30, 40, 50 troops, and then all the way down to what I do now, which is, you know, everything from a couple of British bodybuilders, Paralympians. And they all overlap. It's not, I don't believe in just strength and conditioning is the holy grail. All right. No. It's about movement. It's about listening to what the main goals are for the client, the individual, and all that sort of stuff. And my experiences with strength conditioning are all it is preparation for your main task, and it's a preparatory thing for the function that you're trying to achieve.
Oh, smart. I like that. That should be a preparation for the main task. That's a good mantra. I like that one. I can remember that one. So how important is, so you see, I tell you, I'm going to give you, actually, before we go into that, Ronaldo or Messi, who's the best one?
See, now you ask Piper this one.
I ask everybody it. And there is a right answer and there's a wrong answer, so bear that in mind.
So is that in your opinion, or
in my opinion?
In fact,
in my opinion.
So you've got Body Beautiful, haven't you?
Yeah.
Right, which is your strength and conditioning god, if you like, and then you probably have the technical talent, who's Messi,
like a wizard.
And then you got, you know, the guy who grafts his proverbials off, you know, and that's Ronaldo. So it's perfect. I don't like choosing. I don't put anybody up on I've never put anybody up on a pedestal. I've never sort of been starstruck or anything like that. It's more a case of I appreciate what people can and cannot do. And if they cannot do it, why can't they do it? Let's make them do it.
I love that. Thank you. Right. What an ace answer. Because that's what I look at. I look at it and I go, I know for me it's Messi. But then I look at it and I go, but Ronaldo's a guy who has worked, which I think then leads us really nicely into how important strength and conditioning is for our footballers. So for you, because like, I mean, I guess most kids and most students, the boys and girls, they're going out and they're going, I want to play my sport, whether it be rugby, whether it be cricket, whether it be football, whatever their sport is, that's what they want to do. But one of the hard parts is understanding the process, as you've just said, to get to there, to make your body work right for it. So for a footballer or for a sportsman, how important is it for you to do your strength and conditioning work?
So if you think about, if you go in, if I asked you and you haven't done any press ups for, let's say a few weeks.
I did some this morning. This morning I was doing them in my session before work. So yeah.
So let's say you do and you knock out 40 press ups. Okay, maybe not in one hit, but you knock them out. The next day you're going to be sore. All right. So it's more about, we want to grade this process, if you like, so that you are reducing the risk of injury throughout the session. So it's not going to start up here. It's going to start down here. And a lot of the guys will go, well, I'm better than this. Well, that's
Mm.
your choice. You can make that choice, and you can either make it harder for yourself or you make it slightly easier for yourself. So it's really important that we are preparing, and it is, again, I'm going to go hard back to this preparatory thing. It's preparing the body for the task in hand. So your strength and conditioning components are all about getting, not just everything's just about the muscle, get my six pack and all that sort of stuff. It's about the joints moving well, flexibility, agility, speed, reaction, tendons, ligaments, making sure that they all work together so that you can produce the best that you can be.
Perfect. I love that. So without no more then, you have, I mean, this is ace. I love stuff that helps our learners. That's what I love. So you've developed a strength and conditioning program for SEO learners.
Yeah.
Tell us about it then. Tell us about it. I've made it really simple. Now you can tell us all about it. The reality.
Yeah, see, the reality is, again, it's simple. I don't think we should. Why overcomplicate? Why overcomplicate it?
100%.
So I've broken it down into 4 phases, and it has to be simple, because in the sense of you want it to be able to be followed and fluid and natural, rather than what am I doing today? Why do I have to do that? So phase 1 is 2 weeks, and we start off really gradual. It's what I call the yellow phase, and it's a really simple cardiovascular mixed with some body weight orientated weight training. Okay. I've tried to make the whole 8 weeks limited equipment, because if you can limit the equipment, it means, as we're in lockdown at the minute, you can do it in your front room. I'm doing a lot of mine I'm fortunate enough to have a garden, do it in my garden. Some people don't, they might be in flats, might be in smaller buildings. So I'm going to do some of my videos in my office. Now that is a broom cupboard. All right.
Brilliant.
So the phases are going to be phase 1 and 2, very easy, a reintroduction to, maybe they've not done anything for a while, and it's a reintroduction to activity, not sport, activity. So you're preparing the body, the mind, and you're getting the enthusiasm back to do something. If you do something too much too quickly, the chances are you'll lose the motivation because it's unachievable. So we're trying to push this forward. So you got 4 phases. Each phase has 2 weeks, and they are progressively getting harder with maybe a higher intensity type of circuit, higher intensity cardiovascular element, an agility test, a jump test, a plyometric test. Now, these tests are not for anybody other than the individual, all right? But this is not an individual program, it's a generic program. So it's there for the masses. It's not there as a personalized program.
So I guess the competition, because we had a chat before this and we were talking about ourselves both being very competitive people. So I guess the competition then for the individual is against themselves.
Yes, absolutely. So it's getting them ready so that when they turn up at the start of the season, because we call it a pre-season training plan, if you like. So when they turn up for their for the first day, they know that they've done a good solid 8 weeks progressive training plan that they are confident they can go in and say and do exactly whatever it is they've been asked to do for that first few weeks. And it's not about getting them to peak performance at that point. It's about getting them ready so that they can become and go up to their peak performance.
That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So after the first 2 weeks, then what are they going to do? Then 2 weeks of base.
So 2 weeks base, and there's just a bit of, and a lot of it's mobility as well, because I don't know about you, but I suffer a lot with lumbar spine problems, hips. I can't move. Ever since my injury, I just ridden a bike, really, mountain biked and raced on the road and all that sort of stuff. And I ride a tandem with my wife, who's, as I said before, is disabled. So it's mega, but my hips get really tight. So I've introduced a hip mobility program. I don't know if that's more for me or for them, but it's there.
For me, I think. For me. I love that one.
So in the second phase, I'm just having a quick look here what I've written. So we are going to put in an agility test. So that is an explosive. So everybody's familiar with things like the shuttle run test, yeah? Looking at VO2 max and all this sort of stuff. So this one's called the Illinois agility test. So I robbed it off the Illinois police force. Yeah. And it is basically lying prone on your front. It's an up a sprint shuttle, up round some cones, up and sprint shuttle, timed, done. And at least they've got base markers, you know. So that goes into week 3, phase 2. And then you've got weeks 5, week 6, and then week 7 and 8. But in 5 and 6, it's just progressive. So we're just ramping up the intensity, ramping up the duration that they're working, and just trying to get them fitter, stronger, and able to do things, better. And then in week 7, it's a retest, and then it's destroy them the first part of week 8, and then ease down towards the end of week 8, ready to go back to clubs. So
perfect. So, I mean, that sounds ideal. That sounds ace. So for these boys and girls, if they follow it, because this is going to be the big thing, I think I want them to understand, is that they've got like this 8-week program set out in front of them.
Yeah.
So can you what's their biggest? They're going to talk about gains, and I don't want to talk about your biceps are going to get bigger by X. What's going to happen to them? What can they expect to happen if they follow it and challenge themselves, stretch themselves, and get to the end of those 8 weeks? What can they expect to get?
So I'd love to just go, fitter, stronger, mentally switched on. And it's all of those. It's all of the benefits of strength and conditioning programming. You've got everything from your mental health. So you're fired up. You're ready to do things. You're switched on. So your reactions will improve. All right.
Yeah.
Your speed of direction will change in the sense of it will increase. So therefore you're getting a change of direction, which is essential for multi-directional sport. Your strength will improve. Are they going to turn out to be the next front cover of Men's Health? I don't know. They might not. But if that's their main objective, they've got to put that to the side. The main objective is about being fit, strong, speedy, and injury-free, ready to start. Okay, and that's the only way that I can really describe it.
Brilliant. Duncan, thank you so much for explaining that and talking us through that. So for all SCL students out there, this is something that's come in, so you need to keep your eyes out. Your tutors will be putting out for you. SCL will be putting out for you. It's unique. Nobody else is doing this. It's an SCL thing. Massive thanks to Duncan Hards. Duncan, always do a virtual handshake. That's it. There we go. Lovely. That's the best one. And I'll be looking out for this, Duncan, because this sounds fantastic. Thank you so much for doing this for all of our students.
No worries.